and welcome back to another video. With me, James Kibble, we have Mike France. How are you doing today, sir? You all good?
I'm very well, James. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Enjoying the show?
Yeah, it's been very good so far. A lot quieter than I thought it'd be, but I think Saturday is where it's going to be. It's going to be a lot busier.
The real people turn up on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. The collectors. That's what you're waiting for. So, first off, thank you for having us with this amazing opportunity to have a look at the new watch, which we'll include some footage of, and obviously get some points from yourself on the design and what the future plan is.
Sure.
But first off, congratulations on what you've done with Christopher Ward. It has been incredible to see. And as you said earlier, we are a pre-owned seller, so we sell Christopher Ward pre-owned, and it has been fantastic to see how the brand has reached not only people at the modern and new level, but also in the pre-owned world. It is taken off like anything. That's
very, very kind of you to say so, but it's not just me that has done that. There's a fantastic team behind Christopher Ward, so they'll be delighted to hear you say that when they see this video, which I'll force them to watch.
Of course, I appreciate that. Hopefully it won't be too painful for you. So obviously you've released the new movement and the new watch. How has that been? How have people reacted to you releasing something that is definitely a higher price point than what you've typically done?
Well, we're nearly sold out, so within a week. So
well, that answers that question.
So they've reacted rather well to it, and I have to say it's not a huge surprise because I know the amount of expertise and love that has been poured into the C60 Concept. So it is. I think it's fair to say it's probably our most accomplished watch to date.
Fantastic.
And surprisingly, even at $3,500 or thereabouts, it's probably our best value watch as well. So we only ever apply the same markup, which is the 3 times retail markup.
Yep.
Which means all of our watches are equivalent value, but this one. We slightly undercut the how much the hand polishing of the bridges would be. A company called Chronode did them for us. There's about 6.5 hours of hand polishing on each of the bridges, and we estimated it'd be a little less than that. So this is probably this is less than 3 times market.
Right. Okay.
So it is actually our best value watch ever.
That's fantastic. So in the whole production of this, as you just pointed out, there were some things you didn't quite know how long they'd take until you started. Does that mean going forward that there may be some iterations to the price if the future releases of this, in terms of what you're going to do going forward?
Well, it's called Concept in a sense because there are elements that we think will end up a bit like car companies producing concept cars.
Right.
You may not get exactly this watch, but you'll get elements of it going forward into the mainstream watches. So there are certain parts of this particular watch that were designed to see what sort of response we get. Things like the 3-dimensional SLN.
Yeah.
And so there are elements that will move forward. We're already now in discussions with our engineers and our design team about Calibre SH21 2.0.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting the next year or so what happens.
What I'm hearing is this is a future project going forward. It's not just a concept.
No.
Far from it.
Calibre SH21 is now 7 years old.
Right.
This is the first time we've skeletonized it, fully skeletonized it. What we know about SH21 is after that time, because we're almost unique in the world of watches in that not only do we only retail through our own outlets, apart from those people who sell pre-owned watches, of course. We also uniquely service and repair all of our watches. So we built up an incredible history.
Yes.
That history tells us that SH21 is the most reliable of all the movements that we put into our watches. At a 5-day power reserve, all chronometers as well, it hits all the right buttons for people.
Sticking everything, yeah. And I think, as you rightly pointed out, the price point of something like this, I think you even mentioned it on the website, that if this was by a different brand, it could be 3 times, 4 times the price at least.
I actually said 10,000 on the website. They wanted me to say 15 because we can't find anything of this quality at below 15, but I always play safe. But you won't find anything below 10,000.
I love it. I love the confidence in that statement.
If you can, you're a man who knows watches and you're dealing. If you can find an equivalent watch of that quality, bring it to me, but quickly because these are nearly sold out, and I'll give you one free.
There you go. You heard that here first, everyone. You heard that here first. So social media is pretty much everything to us nowadays, right? We're all on social media. We live on it, for good or bad.
Yep.
And you guys have navigated that world very well. You know, I think I'll let you obviously speak for yourself with this, but I would say you guys have probably been one of the best brands to do social media in the way you've done it, to grasp people's attention, but also convert that into sales. What would you say has been the leading factor to your social media success, and is it actually that much of a factor to your success?
Arguably, you could say even before it was called social media, it was the foundation of the business. And why? Well, a lot of luck, if I'm honest. But somebody in the show earlier, another brand, said to me that they felt we had an almost unique community following Christopher Ward, and that community really started, December, January 2005, 2006, when Dave Malone, who had written and posted the most incredible piece on timezone.com, telling the world he thought he'd found the best value mechanical watch the world had ever seen. We didn't even know Time Zone existed, so it was a bit of a surprise when we started getting orders from all over the world. That spawned ultimately the Christopher Ward Forum, which is an independent forum. That forum today has tens of thousands of people on it. Facebook enthusiast groups. So we've been very fortunate that from the early days, people found us through word of mouth on the internet. And we knew the internet was going to be, we believed, the wave of the future. What we didn't know at the time, because not many people around 2004, 2005, social media wasn't actually a coined phrase.
No.
But we knew that there was this kind of subterranean world of watch lovers talking to each other via the internet. And so we couldn't exist without that word of mouth through the internet. So in that sense, we are a social media brand, and today it's a much more sophisticated arena, and there are many different ways.
A whole team dedicated just to it.
Yeah. And I think we do okay, but it's ever changing, so you can never take. The key, I think, is don't forget about channels. Think about people.
Yes.
And it's just another way of talking to more people.
It's where the attention is at right now.
Yeah,
it used to be on radio, TV, now it's on social media.
Yeah, and I do think the business has I like to think it has a good human touch.
Yeah, 100%.
And isn't frightened to converse with people, even if they're critical. In fact, we learn more from criticism than we learn
100%.
from praise.
And I think that's been one of the major things of your brand, and I think a lot of people who are watching this video would agree. The way you interact online is very different to most brands, and I think that's
how do you think it is?
I think with most brands, they're very much corporate, right? They're very much, this is the chain of which communication goes through. You have to go through the email, you have to go through this. But for you guys, you're actually much more approachable. You will reach out on Instagram and social media. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think you've even liked and reposted some of our photos in random cases. Same with our photographer Danny over here. So he's a big fan of Crystal Ward and owns multiple.
Right? Yeah. Well done.
So it's that kind of thing where community-wise, it's all around there. So we attend red bars as well.
Yeah.
There's always a Christopher Ward there, at least one or two.
Yeah.
So the fact you're reaching those kind of people, that can't be done without it being personal, because they require that extra touch. And that's exactly what you guys are doing. I think it's great to see.
Well, it's good to hear that. But again, we're just trying to do what we do. And I do think there's, one of the great things about this industry that we're in is when you get rid of the bullshit that goes on.
Yeah.
There are some fantastic people,
100%,
and they're a joy to talk to and a pleasure to listen to as well.
This is it, and there's so many characters, and there's so many stories, there's so much of everything, and as you say, when you strip all that back, that's what you're left with.
Yeah.
And we need more of that. I agree completely. The next thing I'd like to talk about is your 60/60 guarantee. It has to be probably the best and most transparent guarantee process in the industry.
Hope so.
What made you come up with this idea, and do you think the industry's lagging behind with the fact they're still doing some places 1 year warranties?
Why did we come up with it? Very simply, back in 2005, people did say to us that we will never sell a single watch online. Nobody's ever going to buy a watch online. Having sold things like climbing frames online at previous business I was involved in called Early Learning Centre, we didn't think that was necessarily going to be the case. However, a brand you'd never heard of who only sells online, they're asking, whilst our watches have always been great value, several £100 is not
still
cheap.
a lot of money.
Yeah, and so one of the ways in which we wanted to let people know that they could buy with confidence was firstly give them 60 days to test out this watch. And if they didn't like it, send it back to us, no quibble, no fuss, we'll give you a refund. And so that takes a lot of the fear of trying something new away. Secondly, when we looked at the warranties that were in place in the industry at the time, I mean, for so-called luxury brands with so-called excellent movements, why was it that they were only prepared to offer very short warranties when they should be confident in the quality of what they're delivering to their customers? And we just assumed that we would break through that model and immediately gave 5 years warranty.
It's incredible.
I mean, one or two people have, in some parts, caught up, but I don't think anybody, as you might be able to correct me, but I still think today nobody's got that combination of 60 days, 60 months.
No, and that's what I think really stands out with what you guys are doing, especially your price point, because to offer that kind of service at that price point as well is unheard of. The bigger brands are starting to get there, as you say, but for your price point, I think you are the only one.
Well, we stand behind everything we do. We've got a team of people who buy into that philosophy, and it's all about confidence. Yeah?
Yes, exactly. It inspires more confidence.
And we've got confidence in ourselves and the product we sell, and therefore one of the ways in which we can instill that into potential customers of ours is by demonstrating in that way. Yeah. It seems pretty straightforward to us, but still,
the career industry is not there yet.
If someone catches it, I'm already thinking about ways we can enhance it.
Oh, okay. So, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that. So you were saying about obviously the online social media and everything like this, but you guys have your showroom now, is that correct?
We've had it for a while, yeah.
And from looking online, it seems like the slots are pretty full up, which is great to see.
I think it's you're an ex-retailer. You know about densities.
Yes.
I think it's got the highest density of any retail business in the UK.
That's fantastic.
So, because we take a lot of money out of it. The chap who manages it, Declan, is over there.
Oh, okay.
He's brilliant. He knows everything there is to know about our watches. Fantastic. He will spend as much time as you require. There's never any pressure on people. It gets booked out solidly. The only time that there's a vacancy is usually because we want to use the showroom for something else.
Right, okay.
So we book it ourselves.
Okay.
And so it's been a real success.
That's great to hear. So with that all said, is there plans to grow that service, biggest location, more locations?
Yeah, we've looked at it and we will continue to look at it. I think there's so much for us still to go after in terms of the online
100%.
Arena, and I'm not just talking UK, worldwide. You know, you and I operate in an industry that's worth about 32 billion of new watches per annum, and by 2025 they reckon 25 billion of pre-owned.
Yes, it's a growing world.
So it's not a small market, and we're a pinprick.
Of course, yeah.
So I'm a big believer in focus.
Yeah.
So if I think we've reached a point where we can't continue to grow by focusing in on our online presence, we may well end up opening other outlets.
Okay.
I think we're a long way from that, and
So your focus right now is primarily online.
Online.
Reassessing as you go.
Yeah, and the US market is growing incredibly fast for us at the moment. It'll take over from the UK in a very short space of time as our biggest market. And Europe is another main focus for us. all online. That absorbs energy, resource, time. Let's make sure we're great at that, and I think we are decent at being an online brand. Let's become the best we can be online and grow that business first.
I like it. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We want to keep these interviews fairly short for people, but if there's anything else you want to say on the new watch, or anything else at all you want to say to people watching today, feel free.
Well, on the C60 Concept, all I'd say is if you're interested, hurry, because they're not going to be around for very much longer. But other than that, it's just a pleasure. Isn't it great to be back in a place where there are colleagues in the industry talking watches? It's a joy.
And thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure talking to you, James. Cheers.